Why this seminar is being held in Odisha. Definitely we have a long way to go, but we have also covered a long way. And probably Odisha is at a stage where the foundation has been laid. And definitely if we all work together, we can build a very good superstructure. I was asked to present on the Global Nutrition Report and lessons for Odisha. So when you are drawing from a global report and making it relevant to a state level, the field is very vast. And at best we can draw generic kind of conclusions. But I have tried to relate it to the current scenario in Odisha, and definitely I'm sure I have missed out a lot. There's a lot I would have loved to add to it, but because of the paucity of time, I'm not going to talk about what Odisha has done. So let's talk first about the Global Nutrition Report. We must recognize it is not promoted by any agency. It's an independent report. The group of experts who form part of the Global Nutrition Report, they are all independent people. They are there as persons, not representing any organization. So it's an independent report. It looks at the global scenario and all forms of malnutrition, and it is very much data driven. In fact, in all the global nutrition reports, this is the third one that was launched recently on 14th. In all the global nutrition reports, we have been talking about the paucity of data and how difficult it is to make decisions or even suggest action. And all the global nutrition reports, the heading, if you see, is actions and accountability. Because this global nutrition report, the series of it, is supposed to encourage accountability. For too long we have just talked about nutrition, but where are the actions and who is accountable for taking those actions? Now coming to the key findings and lessons. Number one, malnutrition creates ripples of individual and societal challenges and opportunities, and this is something we all need to remember at all times. I remember one of my professors used to say that to anybody with a hammer, everything seems like a nail. And that is very, very true of malnutrition. It is not just about food. And a malnourished person is not just a malnourished person. There are tremendous repercussions in the society. There are tremendous repercussions in the economy. And for those who believe in getting bang for the buck, if we were to target malnutrition, we would be solving a lot of problems, and there is data for that, and we couldn't have said it better. We already have in the GNR, you'll find endorsements in the front couple of pages from different people, even very varied kind of people who have put it very succinctly. We need to invest in the grey matter of infrastructure. We need neuronal infrastructure is quite possibly going to be the most important infrastructure, and that is true. What are the economic benefits that I was telling you? If we ignore the issue of malnutrition, and I would request of you in this audience to just remember this 16:1. The returns of investing in malnutrition or in nutrition are 1:16. For no other investment you find this kind of return. So please remember, and I would request all nutrition champions to champion this figure everywhere. Global Nutrition Report has done this analysis. When infants are breastfed for more than 12 months, income increases by 33%. The cost of and I'm talking of studies that have already been done, validated, published. Cost of existing stunting is 10% of GDP, and the compound rate of return for scaling up nutrition interventions is between 10 to 13%. So look at the tremendous economic benefits of dealing with it, and consequently the loss of not dealing with it. The second lesson that we learn is that the world is off track to reach global targets. But there is hope. So all is not lost, as Sir was saying in his introductory, that, and similarly true for Odisha, although the progress has been slow, yet there are examples that we can learn from. So this is just a global scenario, a snapshot. If you just look at the greens, there are very few. Majority are reds, majority are greys where not even data is available. So this is the kind of attention globally that malnutrition has received. And this is what we have for India. This is against the World Health Assembly targets. So it is a kind of a binary division, you can say, between off course and on course. So if you just look only for overweight children, and which is something which is fast moving towards the red. So in most of those, India as a country is off target in meeting the of course in meeting the targets, and similar is true for us as well in Odisha. However, as I said in the beginning and in the beginning of this slide, that there is hope. We see that over a period of time, we have had significant reductions in IMR, MMR, neonatal mortality, under 5 mortality. The rate of reduction has been significant. Recently, the state government has also launched its own strategy for reduction of IMR and MMR. Nearly 50 crores per year is being given under the state plan for this strategy. So definitely we are going to see much faster reductions in this. I would, however, refer you to the RSOC data that was released recently, Rapid Survey on Children data that was released recently, and I'm sure many other speakers are also going to point to this. We see that where India is concerned, Odisha is still lagging behind in wasting, severe wasting, underweight, severe underweight. The third issue that Global Nutrition Report tells us is that nutrition is central to the SDGs. We recently had a meeting on SDGs, and all the states are working on developing their own action plans for the SDGs. We did in the current GNR, we did an analysis of where all nutrition related indicators figure in the goals of the SDGs. And we find, and as I said in the beginning, that nutrition is not just about food. If we look at different goals of the SDGs, we find many of them are directly related to achieving nutritional outcomes. So even for achievement of SDGs, we need to focus on nutrition. The fourth issue is that there is a gap between current commitments and the need. And I think this is something that all people who are working in the field of nutrition, those who are nutrition champions, realize. This is again another analysis that was done as part of this year's Global Nutrition Report, where we find that the nutrition plans, India is currently developing a nutrition strategy, Niti Aayog is working on that. But our state had its own nutrition operation plan funded by the DFID. But when we look overall at the nutrition plans, if we look at the SMART targets, that is sustainable, measurable, etc., we see that in most of the plans that have been made, the SMART targets are not figuring as a majority. In 48, there is no SMART target for stunting, exclusive breastfeeding, etc., which are the major indicators for measuring malnutrition. In Odisha, as I mentioned, we had the nutrition operation plan that ran for 5 years. It had a very clear articulation of the goals, of the measurable outcomes and the indicators. There was clear identification of high burden districts based on different indices like IMR, MMR. There was the hunger index that was also taken into account. A nutrition council under Honorable CM has been constituted about 3 to 4 years back, where all the related ministries are present and deliberations are held there. In this nutrition operation plan, we also had linkages with health, with WASH, with Panchayati Raj, SC/ST departments. In fact, there was a special strategy for the PVTG areas for their nutrition, for people who are migrants. So for the excluded groups also, there were clear strategies in this. There were clear civil society partnerships. We had social audits, notably by the Right to Food movement. They did a social audit in 8 districts, and based on which the Odisha ICDS was presented as a best practice before the Supreme Court by the food safety commissioners who based on this audit plus their own reports. And there have been numerous external evaluations of different strategies and different inputs, different schemes that were taken up under this nutrition operation plan. Many of those people whom we partnered with are also present in the audience today, and many of the external evaluation are there on the public domain, based on which the ICDS in Odisha has been rated as a best practice. So the answer is simple: invest in proven solutions and find new ones. The coverage of nutrition-specific interventions remains highly variable, not just all over the world, but also in India and also in Odisha. And this is what Odisha data shows, that overall our nutrition-specific interventions such as breastfeeding, early initiation of breastfeeding is still variable, still not optimal. And even the nutrition-sensitive interventions such as open defecation, mean age at marriage, etc. we find we do not compare favorably. In Odisha now, for smart commitments, the WCD department and health department are working on an intervention jointly with the Azim Premji Foundation for developing a common results framework across all departments, agencies and civil organization, and setting up a high-level multi-sectoral agency under the Development Commissioner. I'm sure somebody will talk more about it. So what is it that we need to do? Tackle malnutrition in all its forms. And sometimes when we are talking of all its forms, we need to remember that we need to look at not just stunting, wasting, but also look at other things such as anemia, and probably we need to revise our goals ourselves because we are not on target. And it's a shame that even today we have such high levels of anemia. So rate of reduction has to be much faster. We do not have a serious issue with obesity right now, but it is growing. It is not being measured right now in surveys. The day it starts getting measured by a large survey, we will find evidence of obesity growing, and we will have to take measures right now for it. Invest more, plan better, and spend the money more wisely. So this is what an analysis for India shows, that there is an annual shortfall in nutrition sensitive as well as nutrition specific spending. And this is something we all know, that nutrition is not just about food. There are many other factors that impact nutritional status. Here I've just taken mother's age less than 18, and there's a significant correlation between stunting and the age of pregnancy of the mother. The GNR analysis, this year's GNR, shows that 5 underlying determinants need attention: agriculture and food systems, social protection, women's empowerment, WASH and education. All of them need focus. The ingredients for success are well known. I'm not getting into that. All of us are familiar with that. And if we were to just follow those, it can lead to rapid improvements in nutrition. So the 3 takeaways from GNR, and what are the takeaways for us? Malnutrition is not a destiny. Ending it is a choice, supported by smart commitments for accountability. So simply saying vague things is not going to happen. We have to have very clear targets. We have to have the money to support those targets. We have to have the commitments to support those targets. So it is not anybody's destiny. We can be on course to meet targets, and there are many lessons to learn. In fact, the Common Results Framework and the multi-sectoral agency that we are setting up is for this, that we are learning from other countries such as Brazil, etc., where they have significantly reduced malnutrition, setting up similar structure. Coexistence of multiple forms of malnutrition is the new normal, and nutrition stakeholders such as all of us here need to unite and then grow the nutrition constituency. So that is all I had to say. We must move beyond talk to action.